Because this game is a direct sequel to the previous game, and also technically a pseudo-sequel to the other 8 games, I won't be going in depth into the story, but I'll make sure you know enough to follow along with the basics. But if you don't want to know anything story related, I will be talking about some early reveals, and later on I'll talk about one boss, but other than that, this video is spoiler free. Meet one of the best protagonists in all of gaming. Ichiban Kasuga. His defining characteristic is basically just that he is the nicest guy ever. If you didn't know, in 2020, the Yakuza series changed its combat style from a brawler to a turn-based RPG, so if you saw my Gaiden video, this one is going to be a lot different. Early on, the chapters are very story heavy, so we just fought some battles and got the band back together.
Oh, 冒険に繰り出すにはまず装備を整えねえとよ。よっしゃ行こうぜ。ナンバー足立さん、世間様を浜の英雄と騒がせた俺たちだ。こうなりゃ誰にも止めらんねえぞ。おうよ。おっしゃ。
You'll have noticed that Japan was engulfed in a crazy storm, and then it wasn't. This is because Ichiban sees the world in a heightened reality, so these normal guys in suits become pickpockets and bullies, and this allows the combat to be full of over-the-top skills and attacks. 2 hours in, we completed our first chapter and got our first trophy. Ichiban is adopted, and in this game we find out that his mum, who he's never met, is somewhere in Hawaii. As soon as he hears this, he heads there to find her, and instantly we get reminded which country Hawaii is part of.
Wanted money, and she pointed her gun right at me.
おいおい、まんまとそいつの言うこと真に受けてません？All right, smart guy. Put your hands in the air and turn around. 分かった。ちょっと待ってくれ。Get on your knees right now.
And after waking up on the beach, we're in Hawaii properly, and the game actually begins.
Huh? Huh?
Now, there is so much to do in this game. We could explore, continue the story, start one of the crazy minigames, or after belting out some tunes, we got our first sub-story, and we complete it just by saying at any moment we can push square and say hello, and if we say it to certain people, we can become friends with them. We now had even more sub-stories to do, and the way I usually play games is doing all of the side stuff first, so that's exactly what we did while exploring the new environment. The first one we'll look at is the mandatory weird sex thing in these games. It's a dating app called Mismatch. You create your profile, choose who you want to talk to, and choose what you want to say. Then you need to press the right buttons to type the message properly. If you pick the correct option, then you fill up this bar at the top, and by reaching these milestones you... At the end, you pick an emoji for a bonus and then spam text her to finish it off. And if you fill out this bar by the end of the session, then you get a date. Some of these are jokes and he gets catfished. But of course, there's some live action sections.
I think we're the perfect match.
For completing our first one, we got a personality boost, and then we went about the city making friends, feeding dogs, and completing more sub-stories until we ran into the wrong part of town. We lost some money, but we kept our heads up and moved on, and we'd now made 10 friends. In this sub-story, we had to help this boy with his lemonade stand by carrying the lemonade around and giving out samples. We had 2 minutes to find 10 people who actually wanted the lemonade. Then we tried out Psycho Snap, which, if you can believe it, is only one of the 2 Pokemon inspired minigames in this game. You're on rails and you need to take pictures of all these guys hidden in the town, and obviously if you get a better picture, you get more points. Then we got a bunch of trophies in a row. First, we rummaged in a toilet and got an Agesta. I'd never heard of the word Agesta, so I googled it and, you know. We had now got to level 10 and finished the Lemonade Boys sub-story, which was our 10th one. And we got a new way to get around the city faster. The segues are kind of funny just because they're silly, but I didn't actually end up using them that much. To interact with people or objects, you need to get off them and then get back on, but it is quite cool that the whole squad gets one each. The next sub-story... The next sub-story is this crazy taxi-like mode, where you need to collect food items and then deliver them to people. If you complete 6 in a row without failing, you'll get a points bonus, and you need to get a certain amount of points to pass the stage. I'll be honest, I didn't actually know what I was doing here and I was just playing it by ear, but I managed to complete the first stage purely by making sure I was doing flips and getting to as many people as possible. But if you hit these bumpers from Sonic, you can complete a quick time event to get a big points bonus. We managed to get an S on the easy stage, so I thought, why not just do the rest? We got an S on normal, an A on hard, and finally another S on crazy. And for completing every course, we got a trophy. I didn't know how important this would be later on, but some of the minigames have their own reward shop where you can unlock certain items. We'll be coming back later, but for now I bought a CD. And in the story, we get a major tonal shift.
俺はな、ガンなんだ。余命半年とそう言われてる。
After that bombshell, we unlocked the ability to upgrade weapons, but we got interrupted by this. So after tanking a bullet and batting him away, we could upgrade the bat for more damage. We had now unlocked more of the map, so the first thing I did was snap all the sickles. There's 3 courses in total, so we finished the second one and made our way to the third one in style. These are pretty much impossible to fail. We'd also now unlocked the vocation school, where you answer questions to improve your personality. The first test was about Hawaii, and apparently I know nothing.
Damn! Oh, jeez! What a shame!
So let's do something that I do know about, and technically I actually have a degree in. We all know II. That's an easy one. I think everyone knows this, to be fair. And in the last 2 were just educated guesses. University was finally worth it. You'll notice that the rest of the courses are a bit too expensive for us at the moment, so we resat the free Hawaii one, but we'll be back later. This seems like the perfect time to talk about personality. To get the platinum, by the end of the game we need to fill all of these bars and get to level 10 in each of them. You get personality boosts constantly by doing the random challenges, you can see some of them here, and you also get small boosts by making friends. By feeding this dog we had made 50 friends, so in terms of trophies we don't need any more, but we want as many personality boosts as possible. The other Pokemon inspired minigame is called the Sujimon League. You need to collect Sujimon and then fight other trainers in triple battles. I'll explain it fully later, but all you need to know is there's different types of Sujimon, and some Sujimon are better than others. We won the tutorial and got introduced to Sujimon raids. Randomly in the overworld you'll find enemies with auras around them, and if you can defeat these enemies in normal battles, you can use a Suji gift on them and get them on your team. So like I said, I didn't really interact with this minigame until later on, but I was making sure to do as many Suji raids as possible just while I was playing the game, so that when I did do it, I had a decent team to start with. You can also get new Sujimon by spending in-game money on gacha machines. We then found the arcade, and I was excited to find out what new games they had added. Of course they still have UFO Catcher. By catching this cat, we became friends with this lady. They've got Virtua Fighter, where we absolutely boss stage 1 as Shun-Di. They also have Spike Out, which I'd never heard of before. I actually thought this was quite fun, and as soon as I found the monkey flip, I just started spamming it. The boss hit me with a side suplex before I realised I can do one myself. And finally we played Sega Bass Fishing. I'll be honest, I had absolutely no clue what I was doing here, but I did manage to catch a fish.
Small one.
There's personality challenges tied to each of these games, but you don't actually need to play any for the platinum. The main reason I was playing all of them was to get this trophy for playing 10 minigames, until I realised that all of these games just count as one under arcade. Moving on, we caught some Sujimon, and purely just because this guy was called Adam, we tried to fight him. However, I wasn't paying attention to how levels work and we got stomped. We'll be back. We left the Sujimon behind and continued with the other sub-stories. In this one we had to feed a bird, but when we took it back we found its mum was being hunted by poachers. So we sparked him out and brought both of the birds back to our house to live with us, which was our 20th sub-story. And in the story we completed chapter 4 and took a well-earned karaoke break. Time for one of the only miscellaneous trophies. Hawaii is known for unpredictable weather. It'll be sunny 1 minute and then start pouring it down. But if you get your phone out as the sun comes back, you can take a picture of a rainbow. By completing more of the story, we unlocked the ability to change character classes, which are called jobs in this game. You can sign the group up for an experience and the characters will get an idea on how they can use that experience to fight enemies. I liked having people as their exclusive jobs, but I did change Tomizawa to an Aquanaut. We also unlocked the Housekeeper, the Geo Dancer, the Pyro Dancer, and the Action Star. And we were also introduced to Photo Rally, which is a collectible type where you need to find specific objects in the city and take photos of them. In the menu you can get clues to where they are, but instead of focusing on these, I decided to just get them as I play. Because if you get near one of them when you're just playing naturally, this photo icon will appear and you can quickly take the photo. So it made more sense to just get as many as I could while playing the game, and then leave the rest for cleanup at the end. We played darts for the first time, which was our 10th minigame, and then we entered the dungeon for the first time. I'll explain what dungeons are later on because we'll need to come back, but the basic version is, they're procedurally generated areas, you need to defeat enemies, find a lift down to the next floor. Now let's actually talk about combat. On your turn, you can choose to do a basic attack, use a skill, guard, or use an item. Skills will usually do more damage and also have quick time events that make them do even more damage, or apply a status effect. You can also move in your turn, and if you're close to an enemy, you'll get a proximity bonus. If you hit them when they're down, you get another damage bonus. When an enemy attacks, if you hit circle at the correct time, you can guard against their attack and take less damage. Enemies are also weak and resistant to certain elements, like 3 of these guys resist water. There's also AoE skills, and you can even knock back enemies into other enemies to do damage to multiple people in a single turn. You can also hit enemies from behind to break their guard and do even more damage. The gameplay is quite similar to the previous game, but the addition of being able to move about and all these new types of attacks just make everything feel so much more dynamic. A major combat mechanic I haven't unlocked yet are combo attacks. To unlock these, you need to increase your bond with each party member. The best way to do this is bond bingo. If you head to these love heart icons on the map, you get a short text cutscene with a party member, and this will fill out a bingo square on their card. By filling out a square, you'll increase your bond level, and by getting a line, you get a big bonus. For filling out the entire card, you get an even bigger bonus, and you get a special cutscene with that party member, which will again get you an even bigger bonus. And it's quite minuscule, but eating food will increase your bond with every party member at the same time. At bond level 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50, you unlock something called a think link, where you have a conversation with that specific person. And each of these links ends in a boss fight, but each of these bosses are level 32, which means we're going to have to wait if we want to get those trophies. However, by completing the early links, we had unlocked combo and follow-up attacks. Combo attacks let you attack with 2 characters at once, without using the second character's turn. If you knock an enemy down, there's a chance one of your party members will follow up the attack and do some free damage for you. After completing chapter 5, we went to Dondoko Island. On Dondoko Island, we have to clear up rubbish, defeat enemies, and get to 5 stars by meeting certain requirements. So we're going to have to craft objects, place them down to make the island better, catch bugs, you even get your own house. Then we're going to have to clear out each area of the island. By clearing out the first area, we got our first star. And we got more requirements. You get a lot of money which you can use in the actual game. At this point we could build houses and invite guests to the island. You have to gift things to the guests to keep them happy and also place items for them. Then we got even more guests and cleared out another area for our second star, and we just keep doing this. We get even more money. At this point we unlocked Dondoko Farm, which speeds up so much. We can passively make money, and there's also so many bugs here. So we continued to clear out areas, got more guests, went back to the mainland to get more Sujimon, got even more guests, so we got our 3 stars, got more requirements, had more houses so we could have more guests. At this point we actually had more houses than people who wanted to come, so we made an advertisement and crafted 100 items total. Then we got our 4th star and got even more money. The last thing we had to do was complete this boss fight on the beach to get our 5th star, which got us even more money. Now, at this point we had 26 guests total, so we basically just bought all of the best houses, kept putting out advertisements, and let the guests come and just idled, basically. Eventually we got 100 guests, I sold everything that I had on the island, and turned all my Doko bucks into real money, and came back to the mainland. Coming back from the island we had a lot of money, so first we went back to unlock more classes, unlocking the Desperado, Samurai, and Linebacker. Now, we had the money but no personality, so we went back to the vocation school and completed 10 exams for another trophy. And we spent the rest of our money on weapon upgrades. First we upgraded the shop to the max level, which used about half of it, and then I realised we could now get the best weapon in the game, but I'd need 1 shark fin and 10 electric crystals. I knew the dungeon shop sold shark fins, so I went there first. It cost 15k and I've got basically nothing. So by running through the dungeon once, it took me 40 minutes to get 1.5k, which meant it would take me 6 hours of this. So the method I ended up using was to collect things on the beach. Each of these sand piles have an item, and if you pick anything up that can be recycled, you can cash in these items at a special shop. There's also a lot of items you can get in the water, which seemed a lot faster. And after just 10 minutes, we could afford our shark fin, but we still needed crystals. Thankfully, you can also get these in the dungeon shop, but they're a lot cheaper, and we could already afford 6 of the 15 that we need. The dungeon is split into different sections by level. The first section is level 18 and the second section is level 32. At the moment we're level 23, so I felt much safer by just going to the easy dungeon. So we went in and fought all of the enemies, going down to the 5th floor where there was a mini boss waiting for us, and we easily took them out using the new combo attacks we'd unlocked. And after about 10 minutes of dungeon crawling, we could buy 2 more crystals. I did this a few more times before finally getting brave enough to try the hard dungeon, and we actually did okay. We spammed our powerful moves which do a lot of damage, but we also take a ton of damage ourselves, and if Ichiban dies, it's game over. Usually when you die, you need to spend money or reload an old save, but thankfully in the dungeon you just come back out and keep all of the items that you had gathered. We now only had to buy 1 more crystal. A top tip if you're doing this yourself is you can actually skip fights if you walk slowly, and by getting to the exit you'll get some of the currency, and if you get super lucky you'll just spawn at the exit. After about 2 hours total of grinding, we can now buy the final crystal and upgrade our bat. I did think about grinding some more to give everyone else a good weapon, but you can only get one shark fin from the recycling shop, so I just left it for now. But we did craft 10 items before we left to do some more dating. It cost money to go on some of the dates, so I spent our hard-earned Dondoko money on a membership and got swiping. I swear I'm only doing this for the thrill of
Come
it.
on, don't stare like that. It's embarrassing.
We went on 2 more dates before we got catfished by a chicken. And at this point, I just started focusing on the story again. Along the way, we got 10 Sujimon, completed chapter 6, filled out the bond bingo for new party members, completed 20 Sujimon raids, got to level 30, and completed chapter 7 before heading back to Japan, where we're going to play as Kiryu after the group splits apart. So Kiryu basically has the exact same personality thing as Ichiban. Most of the challenges have to be done with both characters separately, but some do cross over, which is why he's already slightly leveled up. There's also these collectibles called Memoirs of a Dragon. You can walk over to a famous location from the series, and Kiryu will remember something about it while showing a screenshot from an older game. And for each one, you'll get a personality boost. These are absolutely everywhere, and since this is meant to be Kiryu's final game, it's such a nice touch. However, I will say, as a fraud who's only played 0, 1, 2, 7 and Gaiden, some of these were a little bit lost on me. Because these give you stat boosts, it seemed like a good idea to do all of these before continuing the story. Because we're in Japan, we have new enemy types, so along the way we had fought our 100th different enemy type. We had now seen 30 memoirs. We had now collected all the memoirs we could find, but some of them were guarded by high level enemies, so we need to come back later. Each of the Yakuza games has a secret boss fight near the end against one of the Amon family, so let's take him on now. Okay, I'm only joking. This is actually the tutorial for Kiryu's special skill, the ability to break through turn-based battles and make it more like the older games. With this skill in hand, we continued the story and finished chapter 8. If you're enjoying this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. It would genuinely help me out so much.
How many views does the thing have?
A bit over 50,000 at this point.
What? How many? That's a ton, isn't it? It sounds like a ton.
Yeah, that's a hit video for sure.
Hey, don't you, like, earn money from ads or whatever? If that many people are watching, we must be raking it in, huh?
That's cute. Our video's not even monetized. The channel would need way more subs.
No shit, huh? Guess it's not as easy as I figured.
Now it's time for the Sujimon League. We completed this early battle quite easily with just the random people we had gotten so far, and this was our 40th sub-story. We spent the rest of our money on the gacha machines. It's basically pay to win. We got nothing worth mentioning in the first pack, but if you get these guys in bondage gear, you're basically set. So we put these guys in our team and it was easy from then on. They've got super high speed, which is basically the best stat in this game. You can see here at the start of the fight, we get to go first. They take a turn, we got a turn, and then we get to go again, and this is going to keep repeating. And as for the actual combat here, it's just simple type matchups. If you're fighting a water guy, use a grass guy. We fought our way through the discrete 4, and in the final fight, we got one of our guys to max level and became a Sujimon master. If you remember, each of the Drink Links end with a level 32 boss fight. We're now level 37, so we completed Tomizawa's and Adachi's, completed chapter 9 and switched back to Kiryu, so we could complete Nanba's, Seonhee's and Saiko's. The only person we had left on Kiryu's side was Zhao, but you get him late in the game, so his bond wasn't high enough. I did try and get him up there, but it was so slow, so I just carried on with the game. As you increase Kiryu's personality, you can unlock life links, which are basically longer, more meaningful versions of the memoirs, but they also count as memoirs themselves. So we had now completed 70 of them. We're getting near the end of the story now, so we completed chapter 10, 11, and finally completed Zhao's link, before getting a job to level 30. If you think about it, we're essentially using 8 jobs at the one time, so we very quickly got 3 different jobs to level 30, and after completing chapter 12 and switching back to Ichiban's party, we got 7 jobs to level 30. And we can now complete Chitose's link, which was locked behind story progression. We only had one more link to do, but you get Junji Han so late in the game, he was only bond 18. I wanted to level up his bond as fast as possible, so I went around the city completing combo meals which initiates tabletop, which gives you a decent amount of bond points. And while doing this, we stumbled upon our 30th photo rally spot, so it was a good idea to just leave these for the end. We completed the second last chapter, and after fighting with Junji Han, we could now finish his link. At this point, I was planning on just mainlining it till the end of the game because I was so close, but I was actually under leveled for one of the bosses, so I wanted to grind a bit, and I just wanted to show how fast and easy the combat is. This is one of the bosses in the dungeon. We start out the fight with an AoE move that halves the minion's health and takes about a fifth off the boss. He calls in 3 more guys, but Dondoko Beam clears them all out and does a quarter of damage to the boss. Essence of Dolphin Dive takes off another chunk, and Essence of Sengoku does the same. We make it all the way back down to Ichiban without the enemy even getting one turn, and finish him off with another Dondoko Beam. Now, if you don't want to see what boss I was stuck on, check the chapters and skip this section, but I want to show how wild the game gets sometimes. We have to fight a giant shark, and this shark is weak to electricity, which means the best move we can use against it is using a stun gun on it. And another good way to do damage to it is to throw an electric jellyfish at the shark. By defeating the giant shark, of course we get a shark fin. And if you thought that was weird, not even 15 minutes later we fight a giant squid. We take it out with a burning arrow and get a trophy for defeating 200 enemy types. There's a combat mechanic I haven't talked about yet called Poundmates. You basically spend money to do a powerful move or heal yourself. I don't like using it because it felt like a waste of money, but at the end of the game I realised how cheap it actually is. We spend $500,000 yen to wipe out everyone in the fight, and for winning the fight we get 2.4 million back, so it basically pays for itself. During the final section of the story I was using a Poundmate every single fight, and eventually had used 30 of them, before I defeated the final boss and finished the game. 51 hours in, and with the story complete, we had 8 trophies left before the platinum. We had to get to level 70, max out Ichiban's personality, max out Kiryu's personality, and finish both dungeons. I wasn't exactly sure how to tackle this, but I thought Kiryu's side would be easier, so we switched to him, and instantly we unlocked a lifelink. In the post game we can now use any party member we wanted, so we put together our ideal team. We completed the link and were told to get to Awakening level 9, which basically just means get all 3 of these stats to level 9, which ended up being a little bit grindy. So I went through the completion list and found some easy ones that I could do, like talk to someone 100 times. We also could now easily do these fights I'd missed, where you help someone out and get a personality boost. We were super over leveled at this point, so each fight only took like 15 seconds. This is definitely a boring way to do it, but after talking to this guy 100 times, we finished our challenge and got our points. Next, I decided to do some puzzle shogi. This would increase our personality, but also give us a level booster, which will save so much time, and I'll explain why later. Shogi is basically a version of chess, and in puzzle shogi, you just have to find the checkmate. I don't think I would have been able to figure these out myself, but thankfully they're not random and you can just follow a guide. So we quickly finished shogi, which boosted our personality, and then we bought a level booster. We got 5 for pre-ordering the game, and we now had 6. Obviously, I knew we had to get to level 70, so from now on, I equipped this item on Ichiban, which nerfs him, but gives more XP. But I counteracted the nerf by giving him these shoes that sometimes buff him, and this skirt that covers HP when you get a buff. We were now at level 50, so only 20 levels to go. The next challenge we took on was Conquest, because as you can see here, there are challenges that boost all 3 stats with it. And of course, we can get a level booster. Conquest was new in the last game, and to put it simply, we need to collect these cans, avoid or smash enemies, and bring the cans back to the start. The more cans you get, the more points you get, and the harder courses get you more points. So after about 10 minutes, we could buy our level booster and we were finished here. And we moved on to golf. And for golf, basically anything you do here will get you points as long as you're playing decently well. And we got another level booster. Now we head to the batting cages, which are meant to be super hard in the other games. In this game, just like golf, as long as you're not completely awful, you'll slowly get points, and we could buy another level booster. I then noticed I hadn't been to every restaurant, and buying all the food at a certain place will give us another boost. So we went around buying everything. And finally found a banger CD. Annoyingly, it pauses during battles, which kind of defeats the whole point. We finally got our body to level 9, which was the last stat we needed, and Date phoned us for our final lifelink. We were almost finished with Kiryu, but I just had to get one of these stats fully maxed out. Tech was the closest, so we focused on that, and after eating a bunch of burgers, we could now move on to increasing Ichiban's personality, which was also almost full, but for Ichiban we need to max all of them out. Again, there's a lot of challenges for this to do, but the best thing to do was to finish off the vocation school, which got them all to level 9, or at least very close. There was also some level boosters we can get as Ichiban, so we replayed some Sickle Snap, and finished Crazy Delivery a few more times. We then head to the Sujimon Stadium, which is basically Pokemon Battle Tower. Again, we were super over leveled, so it was easy to get enough points for the level booster. And then we got Hong Konged. You can basically pay people in the city to increase your stats. It's hard to show this because they only show up one at a time, but this guy in the hotel will increase every single stat. Now I thought these were all one time only, however he did tell us to come back to do it again. I tried to be cheeky and get a taxi back instantly, but we still had to wait. So I thought my best bet was to complete these combat challenges. There's challenges for defeating 20, 50 and 100 people as each job, so I changed Ichiban's job and went into the dungeon, which we still had to do anyway, but I just found this so miserable and unfun because Ichiban was basically doing no damage. However, by using more Poundmates we did get our confidence maxed out and managed to complete the first dungeon. I didn't want to do any more of these combat challenges, so I found a guide online that told me there's even more people to Hong Kong. So I went around town, honking with everyone and increasing each of our stats, and we ended up being pretty close to max on each of them. However, the honk man that increases all stats still wouldn't talk to us, so I was honestly just clutching at straws to find something to do, and we found this challenge for taking 3 more photos to get some style points. And we did it, but then they wanted us to take 40 more. Surely there's a better way to do this. I then found challenges for getting a certain amount of weapons for each job, and we still had a lot of money, so this should be easy. I somehow didn't notice at the time, but in editing I can see my mistake. The first shop we went to was the most expensive shop that sells the most expensive item for each job. So instead of buying, say, 5 weapons for each job, we bought 1 weapon for each job and spent all of our money. So the best way to get more money was to complete the last dungeon. This was actually the best thing I could have done, because spending time away from Hawaii, when we came back, we could now honk with this guy. And even though the guide I found said otherwise, if you can repeat this guy, maybe you can repeat the others. And thankfully you can. So I just went around the city, honking with everyone I could, and finally we got the trophy for maxing out our personality. If that last section of the video felt like a mess, that's also how I felt playing this section. I just had no clue what I was doing. All we had left now was to get to level 70, so we head into the dungeon and grinded for a while. There's been some controversy around this, but basically the enemies in the base game cap out at about 54, so obviously getting to level 70, only fighting those guys takes a while, but if you buy the DLC you can unlock a higher level dungeon and grind faster, and also you unlock New Game Plus. I'm not going to buy the DLC, so this was our best option. At the time I played this, there weren't many guides out, but I think the Japan dungeon is technically slightly faster. I basically just went through the dungeon and defeated the boss at the end, and repeated this over and over again. And I also made sure to use this Koami juice before finishing a big fight, which gives you an XP bonus. We completed this final run of the dungeon just a few points away from level 58, and then we fought the first enemy group we could see. So we need to get to level 70, but there's 7 level boosters you can get from minigames, and you get another 5 if you pre-order the game, which means unless you pre-order or you buy the DLC, the grind is going to be even longer for you. So for a very anticlimactic end to the video, we went from level 58 to level 70 just by using our level boosters. Thank you so much for watching this video, and let me know if you want to see more of these games on the channel.